Hi, I'm Vinny. This is going to be a compilation video of series 1 of my ToyHouse icons. I wasn't going to do an intro at first, but I decided to do one anyway. I made this background in like 4 minutes, so it's a little, bad. I might make a better one later. Also, I'm sorry this comp took so long to come out. I miscalculated the time it was going to take for me to finish the additional info for all these guys. So with that, like and subscribe and enjoy the video.
Welcome to part 1 of drawing icons for some OCs. I have 51 completed drawings, but there might be more. In these videos, I will talk about the character and, for some, their design history. This is Embershine. She isn't a fleshed out of a character. She's bright and cheery, and as of the beginning of the story is training under mystery. I made her redesign based on her new genetics. I figured points with stripes would match her vibes, and the light spotting gives her the cute factor, adding some additional information for the compilation. After finishing the first few drawings, I went back and edited the eyes as I was following the sketches too closely. Honestly, having started the next series 1, would go back and edit the inner ears on this one because they're lopsided. Drawing icons for my OCs. Part 2. Bread is one of 3 young foxes that were trapped in a fire, causing major damage. He had half of his fur burned off, including all of his tail, for leaving the skin red and irritated. Later, the 3 get adopted by Curry and Spirit Stripe. He is a very cheerful character and doesn't let his poor vision get the best of him. Originally, it was just half of his face, but that was way too close to one of his brothers. So we ended up making it more, which makes it more unrealistic. TBH. All 3 of them had irritated eyes in, I think, their 3rd iteration. Now it's just Bread, who has this trait with one of his sclera being this light red color. His eye being droopy is also something I'm trying out to show that his muscles are weaker and unable to stay fully open. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 3. Carol is my Christmas OC. There's not much beyond that for her at the moment. Her sister is Flowers, and she has been the main caretaker for most of their lives. You'll see why in Flowers' part. Not much to say about her design. I think she deserves a pattern, though I've no ideas. I completely forgot to mention that Carol and Flowers were friends with Chris. I don't remember how or why they're friends. In the old written story, she did not appear and text only mentioned in passing. I've kinda noticed that the placement of her holly branch is never consistent. The first recorded drawing of her has it on the top of her head. I like the way it looks on her left ear though, so we're keeping it. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 4. Cat is one of my first OCs. She is a ghost cat, if you can believe it. She died from a slash to the throat by one of the OCs, you'll see later. Cat is very kind and compassionate. They don't speak the language most of the others speak, that being fox, but they don't let that stop them from participating in helping around the cave. Her design man, she was made in Roblox originally, she and her counterpart had green in their designs. The slash on her throat is the most recent addition to her design. Originally, the 2's soul bond was caused by them fighting each other and dying at the same time, and they were forced to get along due to not being able to be far from each other. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 5. Another pretty old OC. His original description has him as sassy. Since this revamp of him is relatively new, he doesn't really have much of a story or personality, but I wanted to practice drawing snakes, so here we are. The one thing we have for him is that he's friends with Spiral Thing. He's only had 2 designs. The The first one he was all green and a new design. As you can see, he has lighter belly scales. Clamp cannot communicate very well, or he can, but Spiral Fang does not understand snake body language. She often just mimics him. He's come to perceive it as endearing, but it was very annoying the first several times. He's also gay because I want him to be. Spiral Fang's little group is exclusively queer weirdos. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 6. Since we're going in alphabetical order, mostly we get to meet Corpse before his family. He's a rather emotional fox wolf who disagrees with his parents' moralities. They do come around eventually and become wonderful grandparents to his child. He was one of the characters made to fill out the world, and his design hasn't really changed much besides a bangs update and adding red to his tail. His bangs used to cover both of his eyes, which were glowing. He inexplicably knows how to speak cat. He's a big wife guy as Tomato is the one who helped him get out of his shell, and he really admires her for that. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 7. Crease is a scientist. She sustained her injuries during a lab meltdown, or something. I'm considering changing this because of Pharaoh. Fox owning a lab makes very little sense. Perhaps she's the victim of experiments like a few other OCs you'll see. She started as an Undertale OC and was an O-Traveler. One of her revamps had her be a human who turned into a fox, but that has weird implications when she goes on to date and have kids with a fox, so I decolonized that real quick. She originally had several bones exposed because of being an Undertale OC. She sustained this design for quite a while before I added the metal prosthetics. The tuft of fur on her head is Kinda. Hard to see in this drawing, what with the fur going over the edges of her prosthetic, but it's there. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 8. Curry is another quite old OC. They are from my Wattpad days. Their name actually used to be Curry Lee. They are an animatronic. God, I need to unfaff these stories. They were decommissioned and thrown out. Before they could get demolished, they escaped and made their way to a nature reserve, where they lived for years in disguise as a normal fox, which is just a thing they can do. They escaped alongside a few other OCs you'll meet, eventually meeting the main group of OCs after journeying for moons. Curry's design has only gotten a very slight change, and that's their eye color. Their mystery used to be identical twins, but I changed their eyes so they'd look different. Now that to have more differences, Curry is actually my first non-binary OC. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 9. Fang was experimented on by bad humans, causing her to be very weak and prone to injuries. She has since recovered, but not without many scars. These scars include the loss of a leg, caused by an encounter shortly after escaping the humans. Her design hasn't changed too much to my memory. She's only lost a scar and gained a prosthetic leg. See, originally she had the skin on her forehead split open to reveal a cracked skull. I decided that was unrealistic. Her torso scar was originally an open wound with sutures and torn skin. Also, she now has a scar on her foreleg where a chain restraint was once attached. She also has a patch of discolored fur due to a birthmark. Her name used to be an acronym for a 4. Well, I never got it solidified because acronyms are hard. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 10. The first arc of this series one didn't design. There's gonna be a lot more in the Shard Clan section. Anyway, this is Flint. He's Ember Shine's younger brother. He doesn't have much of a story or personality yet. In terms of design, I gave my friend his gene pool at the time, and they just went from there. Silver Swift's litter was small, Flint being the runt out of the two. He struggles to keep up, inheriting more of the daintiness from his mother than the bulk of his father. He is currently mentoring under Mercuritail, and the two get along well. Flint is actually quite the troublemaker and doesn't really train as much as he should. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 11. Here's Flowers. As mentioned on day 3, she is Carol's sister. She got a seed stuck in her eye as a kid, and it has since grown into a flower that wraps around her entire body. This is why Carol was the caretaker for so long. Though nowadays Flowers is strong enough to hold her own and is very protective of her sister. Her design wasn't always this stuff. She used to just be a wolf who wore a rotation of flowers on her ear. Not sure where this growing out of her eye idea came from, but it's a fun design concept. I had to futz with the ears because I realized they look awful, so I redrew them. Twice in the old written story, it's said that Crease is aghast to see Flowers alive, which implies she was not doing very well when she last saw her. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 12. Give it up for another OC with barely any story. This is Fold. She's Crease's daughter, and according to her toy house, Paige at some point she almost died, and now all her bones are metal. Somehow, for her design, there isn't much to say. She has her father's eyes and a brighter color of both parents' coats. Fold is about a year older than Rot and Petal, who you'll see later, or have seen already if you're from Shorts. She gets along with them fine, but feels left out due to their close bond. Her swap counterpart is entirely a robot, and I do have half a mind to echo that here, but I think it would interfere with Tiny's whole asexual arc. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 13. 10, my lucky number. This is what we believe to be my first OC. Can't confirm though. Anyway, this is Fox. He's Cat's mate and murderer. Now I know that sounds bad, but it was an accident, and they forgave him. They're her main translator during meetings and such. These two's theme is your stupid face, in fact. It was my entire inspiration for their current story. Basically, they had a secret romance, and his dead mates found out, so he feigned an attack on Cat and accidentally killed her. This devastated him, so he stayed where she died for weeks until he starved to death. Fox's design history is much the same as Cat's. His recent change is that his ghost form is skinnier to show how he died of starvation. Their names used to be Forgotten, Fox and Forgotten Cat. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 14. This is Garrow. I deleted his entire backstories, so now he's just this raccoon with a wife. He used to have kids, but they looked nothing like him, so now he doesn't. He eats trash. I'll give him children eventually. Garrow's main design changes have just been the addition of raccoon patterns as well as him and his wife. Switching eye colors by accident. Garrow's actually yet another OC from Wattpad, and if I recall correctly was originally a cat. Either that or both of them were raccoons. The roleplay was some sort of animal shelter / pound type beat. I don't know, it never really came off the ground. But I liked the names, so I kept the OCs. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 15. This is Embershine and Flint's dad. He's one of the healers of the group, and he's large and kind. He, along with his mate and her sisters, left the clans to be on their own. For some reason, when I first created the OC, he was a girl. I changed him to a boy so he could be with Silver Swift. His torn ear has been an on and off trait as I used to draw from memory. Neither of his injuries has a reason for being there currently. His markings are a combination of his parents. I like the dust markings a lot. Golden Grace originally trained as a warrior, which is how I've decided he got his scars. He switched to Medicine Fox after leaving the clan and to spend more time with his mate. I really want to make him trans Loki. Like, what if he's assigned male at birth and just trans in his own unique way? Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 16. I love this character. Their name is it, and they're a goof fox, an original species I made. They're mute and incredibly sassy. They're bonded to their mate and are almost never away from them. Its design is another one that's not changed much. All that's different is the updated traits for their species and the tufts on their ears. It actually also used its pronouns, but I've elected to forego that to lessen confusion. Despite their sassiness, it is incredibly chill, only really getting sassy around their family and close friends. Also, I know I said they're mute, but they are physically incapable of speech as one of the morphs. They have eliminates their vocal cords. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 17. This is one of the OCs from the Nature Preserve and the father of Tomato, whom you'll see later. He's another Loki-nothing character made to fill out the world. Gotta really brainstorm for this one. I'm writing these all out of order cause I guess I hate myself and I've already yapped about the inner workings of the sanctuary they live at. Let's say he manages prey. With the amount of creatures in the sanctuary, it's imperative everyone only takes their fair share. Circle of life and all that shit. I did Loki forget he had read in his design, so you see me add it in at the end. I remember I gave him cheek fluff to explain why. Tomato has the tuft of fur on her head, and I wanted to have her inherit that fluff from one of her parents. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 18. Mercuritail is Golden Grace's half-brother. He's got ADHD according to his bio on ToyHouse. He's very excitable and really admires Nightshade. He's also friends with Curry and helped them find the group. He's actually also from Wattpad, where I made a new arc for this world. His base coat is actually a cool gray, which is a combo of his mom's green and dad's gray. He grew up on stories about Nightshade and her siblings. Given that they are also half-siblings, he started to crave leaving the clan to join them, till one night he set off on his own. During his journey, a big storm hit, and during this storm, he hid in a rabbit tunnel when he ran into Curry, and the two became fast friends. He and Curry traveled together, and eventually found Nightshade's camp. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 19. Another one of my favorites. She's Curry's sister and was the more popular of the duo, and eventually, when the company went out of business, she was transferred to a horror attraction at a circus. After that shutdown, she lasted way longer than Spring, who we will talk about later, eventually being discovered by Nightshade and falling in love. Most of her scars are from decay over time, but one on her foreleg is from training with Ambershine. As alluded to in Curry's video, Mystery originally didn't have any scars. Then she gained the arm scar, and once I solidified that she liked fighting, I added several more scars. And now that she's a robot, her scars are from decay. She's short-tempered and often slips into her native tongue when angry. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 20. Neon is its mate. He talks for them and their son, who is also mute. Neon is loud and outspoken and brash. He doesn't care what other people think about him. He and it are actually from an old animation meme I no longer have access to. I have this old sketch I retroactively made. Neon He also used to be solid green, but the purple was added, so that it makes sense that his daughter is purple. Neon and it were traveling alongside Gear. Zedri and Tiny as the group used to be a family. Now they are more of a found family. Shortly after this group met up with Nightshades and decided to stay for a bit as Tiny was growing too weak to continue traveling. Shortly after this, Neon had when so the stay became permanent so they could raise the kids safely. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 21. My old Sona. Currently, she is the leader of the group and really just goes along with Mystery's antics. Her backstory is that she felt disconnected from clan life due to being born outside the clans. A few moons after finding her new home, she was lured away by a spirit who possessed her for about a moon. This spirit is now permanently bonded to her. Since Nightshade is such an old OC, she has one of the most redesigns of them all. Originally solid gray, I then made her so edgy. She had wings and red fur, truly peak character design. Now she's purple. Yay. Though I am quite sad you can't see much of her purple in this bust art. She has purple stocking marking as well as the underside of her tail. All these markings have speckling. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 22. Nightski is one of Fox and Cat's kids. He's quiet and reserved and keeps to himself. The reason he's also a ghost is either that ghosts can reproduce or Cat dies pregnant. I haven't decided yet. Also, he's gay and dating a character you'll see later. He had the old, more segmented design as well, but very briefly. This design only got like 4 to 5 drawings. I honestly don't have much more for Nightski. He's sort of angsty and really only talks to Soup. He was made just to give. Fox and Cat another kid and someone with the other 2 colors from their palettes. He and Rain are both Fox, Cat hybrids obviously. So they have some features from each species. Nightski has cat ears and a fox tail, while Rain has fox ears and a cat tail. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 23. This is Pasta, Bread's younger brother. He lost his eye in the fire. His fur never grew back, but his scar is more healed than Bread's because he wasn't on fire as long. Originally just his eye was gone and the fur around it was darker. But around 2021, I changed it so his ear was torn too. I also removed the fur around his eye because of the fire, and it didn't make sense for just his eye to be gone. As the runt of the trio, he isn't taken as seriously as his brothers. He is very pouty about this, which does not help. Being so small, he is the fastest and is often the one bringing in rabbits. He feels really awkward about this ever since Spring joined, even though Spring assures him it's fine since he's not a real heir. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 24. Petal was adopted by Fang and her mate. She's a very young wolf with a kink in her tail. Her personality is still very much just a kid, for now as she is the youngest character on this list. She didn't have colors or a pattern until I made the Swappo, which we'll hopefully get to. I'm not really sure why Petal is a calico, as she's a wolf and not a cat. It is a very cute design and fun to draw, as I don't really have many calicos. If memory serves, the kink in her tail was caused by an issue with her birth. Mother's pregnancy, and she is the only pup that survived. Unfortunately, her mother died very soon afterwards. Petal was extremely lucky that Fang found her when she did. She was nursed alongside Rock, and the two are very close friends. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 25. Woohoo! Halfway through Series 1. Rain is Cat and Fox's daughter, and actually the subject of a prophecy. She's said to help recover the Doshmari, a group of fox-like creatures you'll meet in Series 3. Personality-wise, she's very kind and sweet, and wants what's best for the world. She can be a little too trusting to her downfall. Her design history echoes Fox and Cats as well. The placement of her blue was where the blues were on her parents. Terry and her end up developing feelings for each other a few hundred years down the line. This Dershmari storyline has two endings I'm toying with. In the quote bad ending, she and Terry meet descendants of the main group. You meet who have since lost their powers due to mixing with foxes. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 26. Much like Clamp, there isn't much to say about him. His original page says not your stereotypical spooter. Yes, I used the word spooter. Oh, 2017, what a time. Anyway, not much to say really. I'm sure he'll have a role in this story for the few weeks he's alive. I'm not very good at drawing spiders, if you can tell. But I need the practice because I want him to be part of the story. All that's really changed is the placement of his eyes and the spot on his abdomen. Despite being unable to communicate verbally, Redleg is very smart and often helps Spiral Fang through social interactions as she is. Autistic coded, Redleg knows quite a lot for being such a short-lived creature. And as Loki an asset to the group, he is actually Silver Swift's main source of cobwebs. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 27. Rhoda's Corpse's daughter. She and Petal are about the same age. Fun fact, she has the largest amount of family members in this entire group, and the only one to have great-grandparents. Her design having red on it is actually what inspired me to give Corpse some red, even though she gets it from her mother. I've only really changed the shape of her markings, from only covering the edges of her bangs, cheek fluff and tail tip. Now, as you can see, the red covers all of that. Rhoda's a very energetic kid. She is often the first one awake and the first to notice when things are different. There are no secrets around this fox wolf. She will find out. Her friendship with Petal is very deep, and that to see each other as sisters. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 28. Another Gore OC. She's Fang's mate, let's go lesbians, and has two siblings, one of whom you'll see tomorrow. Two of her scars are from barbed wire, and if I'm honest, I might make it so she got tangled in some. I've changed the color of her scars, and the amount, as well as added the scrape on her back, which you can see some of in this drawing. Her torn ears keep switching sides, and her eye. Scar has gone through the most changes. Her original drawing had no real placement specified for the scars, except the ones on her cheeks. Now, obviously, they're on specific spots of her body. She is a stoic type, very quiet, and lets Fang do the talking. Due to her size, folks often assume she is the quote leader of the duo, but they're more of a team. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 29. This is Scar's sister. She was born without a left leg and wears a prosthetic, which is what the straps are for. She has a lot of anxiety and was separated from her siblings for a while. Originally, she had lost her right leg. I don't know why, cause I knew my left and right back then, and her nickname is Lefty. Scorch does not trust anyone, not even her siblings. Not fully, at least. She has terrible abandonment issues and hasn't really left the cave since she arrived, fearing it will be empty when she returns. Due to this, she is often more wrapped up in upkeep, soon gathering up cobwebs and moss. She does eventually learn to trust her family again, but it takes a very long time and a lot of conversations. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 30. Sherbet is Lime's mate and lives with him on the reserve. Not much else to say, even in the design department. She's always looked like this. She's a mother figure to many of the reservation creatures, often mediating arguments over the very loose territory lines that pop up now and then. She says, The reservation is for all of us. There are no borders here. This tends to confuse newcomers who are used to fighting for a mere bush to sleep in. She assures them there is plenty of room for everyone and fighting is not necessary. Before her, Curry was the one who did all of this. In fact, they were the one to establish these rules. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 31. Silver Swift is a very motherly figure to the entire group and was trained as a medicine fox before leaving the clan with Nightshade. She's very tired all the time. Childbirth took a lot out of her. She didn't have stripes at first, and the forehead stripes are new. For this drawing, she also used to be identical to Nightshade without the red, of course, honestly. Silver Swift is such an old OC, I don't remember why I made her. Nightshade would have needed people to mourn her. Transformation into Bloodclaw, and who better than a family? Anyway, she is a comforting presence, often silent during meetings unless she thinks it necessary. She is one of the few characters here with a cause of death. She never really recovered after giving birth and died from overexertion. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 32. Much like it, Sludge doesn't talk and lets his father and sister talk for him. He's very large, fully grown. He's the largest of them all. His design is based mostly on it, but with holes on his body showing leathery green goo inside. Sludge is very much a shut-in, due to being so large. He sort of lumbers through the forest and scares off all the prey and feels very bad about it. He's super shy, bashful, and very Fluttershy-coded. I might make him beginner and use he/she pronouns, since she can't really communicate. This, well, it does take her forever to get her family to realize it. They are intensely supportive, of course, and it is very proud of him for coming out. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 33. Solar Horizon is a prophet-type OC, and yet another who doesn't talk. She communicates through gestures. She is also blind. I don't remember why I made this OC. I think she's another Wattpad OC. Her design is pretty simple with just the one stripe and A. Constantly tired. Expression with one torn ear. She sort of just shows up occasionally to imply some ominous shit. Since she can't talk, she just sort of hollowly stares at any subject of a prophecy and scares the shit out of them. Her handler, Stardust, sort of translates for her. Since she can't see the prophecies like Solar does, she just sort of stands there nervously. Solar Horizon is the one who received the prophecy about rain, which she delivered to both Sleet and Rain. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 34. Soup is the last of the trio of fire victims. He wasn't really impacted by the flames themselves, but more by the debris. He pulled his brothers out of the flames and got very scratched up. He has the same level of scarring as Scars. He's also the one dating Nightski. Originally, he just had a torn ear. Then I gave him face scars, and finally his body scars. He is very protective of his brothers because of all this, and is always fretting over them. It took him a while to accept his new family due to trust issues related to him and his siblings being abandoned by their biological mother. They ended up sheltering in a recently abandoned building, surviving on scraps of food left behind. This building has faulty wiring which caused the fire. Soup was outside when this happened. Drawing icons for my OCs, Part 35. Spiral Fang was created at the same time as Redleg and Clown. She was originally a nervous type, but has grown more confident with the help of her friends. She's also from the clans and was forced to come, along with her brother, as he left with his mate. As her name implies, spirals are a big part of her design, or they were. She started as a bright purple fox with neon cyan spirals on her coat. Then I took that away and desaturated her purple. Now she has a brighter purple for her accent color. Her points end in a simple spiral. And of course the titular spiral fang. She had the spiral teeth when she was younger, but one of them fell out or got ripped out. I dunno. I think I said this before that she is aromatic. She really struggles with this. Drawing icons for my OCs, part 36. The last of the original 4 OCs. Spirit Stripe is the second largest of these OCs. He's tall and skinny and a good hunter. He also adopted soup bread and pasta alongside his mate Curry. In the second incarnation of these OCs, he was Nightshade's favorite sibling, and Silver Swift was shunned. Over time, he gained more and more stripes and his darker points. For his personality, he is very laid back and more of the fun uncle type. He was very on edge while Nightclaw was gone, and did not trust anyone new who showed up on their territory, convinced they were the one who took her. So when Mystery showed up, he was extremely hostile. It took a lot of convincing on Mystery's part to get him to trust her. Despite her rudimentary grasp of the fox language, she managed to get through to him. Drawing icons for my OCs, part 38. Wait, what? Didn't we already do Neon? And it? Yes, this is the two of them combined. Split! They were actually made first. And the main subject of the animation meme that was made, they're just half neon and half it. Personality-wise, Neon speaks for both of them in a staggered pattern. The reason they confuse is because that's a thing goof foxes do to show affection, platonic or romantic. They met as kids, they split or were born around the same time. They journeyed to what I've just been calling Spa around the same time and really bonded on that trip. Goof foxes are very attuned to body language. Since a significant amount of them cannot make any noise, it's very helpful for communication. Drawing icons for my OCs, part 38. Okay, so this guy is literally just Springtrap. He's a hare and is no longer possessed by a murderer. He's relatively new of a character despite always being part of Mystery's story. His design is pretty one-to-one to his staff iteration. His purple eyes are a result of the possession and their instability. It's because it looks cool. There isn't really a reason why the animatronics are sentient and can turn into feral animals, but it's low-key an essential part of the plot, so it stays. I have a bit of old art of him where he is dying. A big part of his story was dying, and Mystery having to go on a quest to the others and have Spring rebuilt. Since I want this story published one day, maybe, I replaced it with a simple rescue mission where Mystery finds him again. Drawing icons for my OCs, part 39. Stardust got redesigned for this video. She used to have small spots instead of these big stars. She is Solar Horizon's caretaker and interpreter. That's kinda all she is. Due to having a starry pattern, clan members mistake her for a Star Clan fox. She's said to be caring. Really, all she does is follow Solar Horizon around to make sure she doesn't die. She is also the one who hunts for the two of them. She is not sure she really believes in prophecy, even though they're very much real. I think it's a fun trait to give a character in a world where these things are very much true. She's not an asshole about it either. It's just not her thing. She still passes along the messages Solar receives even if she struggles to interpret Solar's vague gesturing. Drawing icons for my OCs, part 40. This character is named Terrible Mistake, but I call him Terry. He's a substance user. Yeah, his job is to make sure Rain fulfills the prophecy. He's an interdimensional traveler who can fly and turn and throw because he can and he's my favorite. The organization he works for is run by a dragon named Leviathan, who sends him on a new mission in the swamp universe where he has to make sure Rain's counterpart is safe. He can also light the tip of his tail on fire with a flick, which helps with his substance use. Loki ran out of time in Rain's part, so I guess we are talking about this here. As much as they would like to, Terry and Rain can't have kids, since Terry is unable to die. I do think I'll have them adopt at some point. Drawing icons for my OCs, part 41. Timothy. He's about as old an OC as his sister Scars. In fact, they're in the same sketchbook. Timothy is also from the nature preserve. When the siblings were separated, he ended up getting run over and saved by the runners of the preserve, who gave him the prosthetics. In his first design, his brain was exposed. He is also missing a leg and part of his side. I forgot to mention, but both of his eyes are robotic. He can still see through them because of science bullshit or something. I designed him alongside a few friends from, like, middle school, I think. I remember one kid decided he was a phantom wolf and another picked his name, which is why it's so different from the others. He did have the nickname Empty in the beginning, but I dunno, I don't think it fits him. Drawing icons for my OCs, part 42. The last of the prosthetic havers. He was run over specifically by a motorcycle and received his prosthetics from Kreese. He's shy and the smallest of the adult characters. Just like Kreese, originally his bones were exposed, and he was a raccoon like Gera. His old design was Loki disturbing. He had the skin on his head pulled off and sagging down the back of his head. Also, there's a drawing where Tuftfur takes credit for whatever happened to him. Like Timothy, Tiny also had a nickname in his first drawing, which was Roadkill, because, you know, he's basically Roadkill. Also, he's asexual, and that's since the beginning. I think he's my first ace character overall, actually. I really like this drawing. I don't draw him enough. He's very fluffy, and I think that's very cute. Drawing icons for my OCs, part 43. Tomato is Corpse's mate and the daughter of Sherbet and Lime. She's happy and chipper. She gets her name from the tuft of fur on her head. Isn't that cute? In terms of design, she started as pure red with a small tuft of fur that she patted down to match Corpse, and it grew as she got older. She didn't have the spot over her eye until a few years ago. I did it so that she would look more like her bio mother. I remember making her to be Nightshade, and Mystery's child, as tomatoes are a type of nightshade. I gave her bio parents to help tie her into the story better, I believe. She was traveling alongside Curry for a while until the storm separated them. She ran into Soup and his brothers, electing to join them. I'm realizing I haven't solidified what brings them to the caves in this rewrite. Drawing icons for my OCs, part 44. So she kills people. Or she did. Now she's just overly chipper and inconspicuously covered in blood. She's Corpse's mother and was part of the clan with Spiral Fang and her brother, who she is mates with. Also, her name used to be Murderfur. I don't think I can say that on YouTube. The blood was always part of her design. And I don't know why her eyes are like that. Her conception drawing is actually still up on my channel. I don't remember why I made her, but I did retrofit her into the clan lore. She was born into the clan, but I don't have her parents made yet, so you won't see them in the coming days during Series 2. For Tuftfur's design, I made it so her fur was less well kept. When she was younger, now she keeps her fur neater. The red splotching is just markings now, but it did start as blood-stained fur. Drawing icons for my OCs, part 45. She's named after Sam and Dean Winchester. I have never watched Supernatural. Anyway, she's neon and its daughter and is a hyperbole of energy. No design notes really, except her wonky ear. She's a pretty unstable goof fox despite her parents being regular and shelled and literally having no unset DNA. I realize I just said a lot of things that don't make sense, but we gotta move on. For being such an old OC, she doesn't really have much to her. She's clumsy, absent-minded, and strong-willed. She doesn't let anything get the better of her. She prefers battle training over anything, but they don't get into many fights anymore. It's more of a slice of life story at this point. Drawing icons for my OCs, part 46. Wolfclaw's a wolf. He had his mind set on being the leader of the clan by killing his way to the top, but when his mother became the leader, he couldn't do it. He used to be adopted by his parents and the only wolf in the clan. But now the clan is foxes, cats, wolves, and the hybrids that form. Because I hate science, Wolfclaw is very protective of his family. He would do anything for them. Anything. He used to be transphobic. I took that out of the lore because I don't want that for this story. The first story I had in mind for him, back in 2017, would have him go on a quest to find his parents. But since then I've changed his main arc to, well, nothing at the moment. It's important to have side characters though. Drawing icons for my OCs, part 47. Finally, we get to Garo's wife. Her name is Zed Reed. Now you may be wondering why their names are like that. And that's because I'm very bad at making names. Her only redesign is the eye swap previously mentioned. I do want to redesign her, but like with Carol, I have no ideas. She's cute, silly, and bashful. She's very youthful in spirit despite being on the older side. This is in contrast to Gero, who is sort of cranky and rude to folks who are not his wife. I was like so close to discarding these characters, but I looked back at their old art and felt so happy to see them, so I guess they're staying. I'm wondering if there is art older than the current, oldest one on her profile because it seems she was designed before then. But I vaguely remember deciding her colors in the second drawing, I don't know. Drawing icons for my OCs, part 48. Bloomflower is Golden Grace and Mercuritail's mother. She has a lot of scars. They were originally from being mistreated by another character, but I've changed it to her having a tree fall on her in a storm. This is how they came to the clans. I added her injuries pretty recently. In addition to the ones you see in this, she's also missing half her tail from the tree falling on it. She and the next 3 characters were traveling together in a group. That's like Loki a polycule. These guys were conceptualized as the parents to the core 4. I did some bubble letter art, which is how I decided their colors. I'm a big fan of all these designs, they're really nostalgic. Especially Orange Heart, as he's the one who changed the least. Drawing icons for my OCs, part 49. Diamond Shard is the father of Mercuritail, as well as Nightshade and her siblings, which does make Gold and Silver step-siblings. I need to fix that. Anyway, Diamond Shard is the leader of this small group, and it was his choice to join the clans. His design history starts with him being a solid bluish-gray, and I gave him stripes, 2 on his face and 1 down his back. Diamond is strong and confident. He cares very deeply about his family and was devastated when Nightshade left. It only got worse when Lilac Pelt and Orange Heart died. He and Bloomflower found solace in each other and eventually had Mercuritail. In the 2 traditional pieces I have colored, he is more on the blue side. Like so blue you can't tell he's supposed to be gray. Drawing icons for my OCs, part 50. Lilac is Nightshade and her sibling's mom. She dies. UHHH, and she doesn't really have a personality. I like that she looks like a strawberry. She has pink points with dots the same color as her base pelt, same as her inner ears. You notice I never got her face right, and honestly, I was so close to the end, I don't care. Also, I accidentally had the pen way too. Fit because it had been like 10 days since I drew Diamond Shard, and I was low-key disassociated as hell. This drawing of her is literally so ugly. I'm sorry you had to see this one, chat. I promise she's like really cute normally. In the beginning, I couldn't remember her name, so if you go to her ToyHouse, you'll see some art has her labeled as Lilac Dale instead. Drawing icons for my OCs, part 51. This is Orange Heart in his ghost form. He's Golden Grace's dad. Like previously stated, he was a bad guy, but now he's kind of a nothing character. He and Diamond Shard but heads often. Orange did not want to join the clan, but he yielded for Bloom's sake. Like Lilac Belt, I kept forgetting Orange Heart's name, calling him Orange Pelt instead. I still call him the wrong name sometimes, but now it's Orange Shard, his swap EU counterpart. Anyway, Orange much prefers the solitary life. He would often go out on his own for long stretches of time, especially to the mountains. This is unfortunately where he died, killed by us, something I'm sure. The clan thinks he abandoned them until Small Heart sees his ghost, and they all learn what happened.
Thank you for watching. If you want more, feel free to check out my shorts for Series 2 well underway. And again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.